power plants next, he's saying stuff like this.
They did something yesterday, it was amazing.
If that's okay with you. We just got several things going on and
A little bit.
from the courthouse and show them a little bit of Warsaw and no time. Well, if that's all right. Call, what's a good number for me to call to see if you're around?
If you're talking about this, 859, it was fast. 206 337.
Good stuff.
Last
All right,
night,
Jay.
so they'll star.
Right, yeah. Oh, yeah. It's better be really easy to be like, oh, I would do this. And dug out the fat. Yeah. Oh, yeah, I'm gonna cut it. Right. They have one closer to me to watch for that. So it's like a necessarily details. Go down there.
What my house years ago. I'm not.
8 feet high.
So all the
The family wants to face the new stuff. We do it.
One of the other guys.
This is so smooth. Catch Fisher.
We fall.
Sorry. Not like that.
Good eagle fish right there.
Yeah.
I buy some stuff.
I'm just in early.
That's why we would take off.
That was cracking me up. That was kind of talking about their questions, and I was like, shut up. You got two people in here.
Back up sewers and drains, because it's separate.
Good bill analyst to me.
Judge Moore,
It's in the morning.
Yeah, I would.
I had my.
when's the last time you saw Bing Dickerson?
Oh, my goodness.
Blade.
Been a while. I used to see him out by the smoke every day. On the side of the building. No,
Where is he working?
To each other.
and the car goes on.
So-
Yeah, the county clerk's office, he was doing like.
You like it? I was afraid it would put me on fire. So with the black and white.
Well, and so here's, no, I'm really gonna be able to add to because it's gotta give everybody their opinion.
It's been,
9 of you that I'll
I
probably.
heard years ago we quiet pass.
Won't be there.
A long time ago. I knew her back in the day. She was really good.
Well, it's right, okay, yeah.
Whatever happened to him, I thought.
Yeah.
You know, he was the extension agent, ag extension agent.
We actually have one at North Ridge.
Oh, yeah.
It's been open
Yeah, it was,
quite a year.
well, she's trying to reach out.
Not a very.
It was just,
In and out of it. So usually I'm like, I want to drive through because I'm too lazy to get out of the car, so.
Small amount too, you said Jimmy John's and Erlanger. That's the unfortunate part, there's no other way to live. Challenge, you get into it. And nothing changed here. Slow down.
Everybody, I've been in that one.
Pay the same certain.
2 day total, 30 pounds, 70. Yeah, 24.
All right, if I can have your all's attention. I'm told we now have a quorum, thanks to Mark, and thanks for joining it. Hopefully we have some others that will join us here shortly. You all will stand with me, we'll do our pledge. I'm gonna ask Lisa Wilson-Flager to lead us in the pledge today.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Lisa. Y'all play ball. It's Red's opening day. Red's opening day, a big day. And we'll be done well in advance of that, because that's not until 4 o'clock, I believe. We do have a quorum, as I said. And next up, item 4 is the approval of the agenda. We've had a chance to glance at that. Do I hear a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Second. The motion and second to approve. Any discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
All opposed? We have an approved agenda. Before I go into the minutes, I want to welcome our guests that are here. Megan is here with us from Senator McConnell's office, as always. And we have Brian Blank with us from Fish and Wildlife. Welcome back. You were with us before, and we appreciate you being here. Any other guests that I'm missing? All right, very good. Approval of the minutes, item number 5 there. Motion.
Second.
All right. Any changes or corrections to the minutes? Hearing none, all in favor of approving the minutes, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Minutes are approved. Anything for ethics report? I don't know that.
Strict remains, we're in good shape.
No action needed there. Financial reports, item number 7. Amanda's with us. Amanda, give us the financial report, please.
Good afternoon, everybody. There isn't any significant swings or changes to report on this one. Just to note, we are starting to look at the details of a lot of these expenses because we're beginning the budget process. Some of those are due at the end of April, early April. So that's kind of where our focus will be over the next couple of months. We do have an increase of revenues from the same time of January. So this is reporting January, sorry, of 2025, an increase, 41% increase. Specifically what makes that up would be the federal grants and then some of the programmatic revenues that we generate here. I don't have all of the details of that, but that's where some of that increase comes from. And then I lastly wanted to make note of the student balance. So the 93% decrease isn't necessarily a true number. We did have a delay in the closing. So the billings in the month are not reported timely. That's where this decrease comes from. So not to be worried about that. And that's kind of all that I have to report today. Is there any questions for me?
Any questions for Amanda? Okay, with that, I would entertain a motion to accept the financial report.
Thank you.
Second. Second. Motion and second. Any further questions or discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the financial report, accepting the financial report, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Number 8, e-clearinghouse. Okay, Joe?
That was quick. I know. That's how I felt too. Like, wait, I just sat down. So.
Hey, we're cracking the whip here today. We got,
Recorded this 15 minutes ago. What do you mean? It's my turn again.
we got work to do, so.
You all got in your packet, there was a lot of pages for e-clearinghouse. If you realize, they look a little different than they used to. The state has created a new platform to do the e-clearinghouse, so that's why they kind of look a little different. And the fact that you all had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 projects on your e-clearinghouse should tell you there's a lot going on right now. So we're really excited about that. I will go ahead and say for the Boone County Rural Water Extension one, that had already been completed. They just needed to update their e-clearinghouse. You all approved this back in 2024. And the state and KIA, we're getting a little antsy about getting that approved and reviewed from us. So I'd already talked to the judge and Matt Webster over at fiscal court, and they said, go ahead and do that. So I went ahead and approved that with those. Again, you all already approved it before. I did add some packets to the back because just this week I got 2 more e-clearinghouses for Kenton County that relate to transportation. One is the 15th Street Bridge replacement and then resurfacing on Troopers Crossing. So those are all on there. But again, most of these are projects you've seen before, especially like the 42 replacement bridge in Carrollton, which I feel like has been on the drawing board forever. The water treatment in Williamstown, that is a project Grace has been working on with the city and USDA to get funding for that. So we're really excited about that. Again, the other ones are all transportation. The lead service line replacement project, that again is another house that you've already seen. The price on that has gone down a little bit. Well, actually, I'm sorry, it has gone up on that, but that was a repeat. And the other 2 water lines, again, are repeats. E-clearinghouse is only good for a year. So those projects came in 2024, you approved them, and then guess what? That year is up, and so that's why you're looking at them again. Any questions?
Hey, Joe, I just have one about Boone County's rural water line. The paperwork on that is not in here, correct?
I know it.
All that?
No, you only see what I see. You only have what I see.
Okay, so you don't have the budget for that?
No, you just get what I see.
So what we are doing with rural water, the fiscal court is doing a series of scattered streets, and we've got like 6 different phases. We've allocated millions of dollars, and but some of these do receive some grants, but they're not even 50-50. The county's paying probably 70-30. But that's what this one is. I remember what section that one was, but there's a lot of them.
Yeah, I'm sure there are. The only reason I brought that up is I just thought for all the other judges and mayors, it'd be good to know where the funding comes from for that. And what you're telling me is that most of it's local and there's a little bit of grant money from either KIA or RD or something like that.
I believe the state money that was in this one was the one that got water out to Kelly Elementary. It was our only public school. It's the one out in Bellevue Bottom in Western Boone that didn't have water, and the state, we received a grant, but it was less than 50% from the state.
Sure. Thanks, Judge.
Mhm.
So the other thing with the new e-clearinghouse platform, they require certain things to upload it, documents upload. So that's why you have some maps. And as they upload those documents, I'll make sure to include those in your packets. So I, 6, these 8. The 2 that aren't there, so the Queen Street Bridge replacement in Kenton County and Trooper Crossing resurface.
I'll make a motion to approve all of them. All right, is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion?
Here you had one question.
Yeah.
For us, doesn't that it was like a rural water 1, 2, and 3. There were 3 different phases, right?
Correct. And then Boone Water also has a series of projects that they are doing on transmission lines on the main route. And they also, from time to time, receive state money, federal money. This one is for the fiscal court, but sometimes you'll see rural water in Boone County, but it'll be Boone Water District.
Thank you. We're on water, just a little tidbit, a little addition. So the Cleaner Water program that KIA is also doing, we had a lot of grant money come through the region for that. We had 29, currently we have 29 projects that are still active. We have to finish those up by October. So those 29 projects were $36 million total funding. 16 million is still outstanding. All the funds need to be expended and all the paperwork and closing all done by October of this year. So if your community has one of those, your utility help push that along to get it done. We have 3 that are in closing, and we have 13 projects with no draws, nothing. They haven't done anything. They might be completed, but they haven't done anything. So if you have a question about your utility in the cleaner water, Grace is in the back and you all can talk to her afterwards. Like I said, those 13 that haven't done any draws are $12 million worth of projects. So we want to make sure our community gets all this money.
We have a motion and a second on approving these. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, aye? Aye.
Aye.
All right, thanks, Pat. Yeah. We knew who that was. All right. Transit contract resolution. Ivy, I think is going to report on this. Yeah.
Hi, everyone. Those of you who don't know me, my name is Ivy. I am a community development planner for mobility. I believe you have a resolution in your packet. This is to authorize us to apply for the 5304. We're applying for 5304 section of the formula grants via FTA and via the state. This resolution is just authorizing us to apply and like us saying, hey, yeah, we have the match. So I believe that's all. So I'm just requesting action on that to approve.
All right, what's the pleasure of the move? Second, read it. Yeah, I saw Marie nod her head, and I heard Matt. Is there discussion concerning this item? Hearing none, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you all.
All right, motion passes unanimously. I'm moving fast, so I need to pause a little more. I forget about our virtual audience that's with it. So thank you all for participating. Next up is the Kentucky Veterans Directed Care. And Tara is going to report on this.
Yes, in your packet, you have a one-pager outlining this program. So I'm not going to read it to you, but I'll say in essence, this is an opportunity that has been brought to us by our partners in another ad that already administer it. I believe it's KIPTA, really helping us just expand the offerings that help older adults, in this case who are veterans, live independently in their homes for as long as they, are able. It kind of expands that time. And so this would, we would use our existing staff in our either waiver or home care teams to work with veterans who are referred to us by the VA who need some, what I would call wraparound services. So maybe they need some light housekeeping. We already do connect individuals who are older adults to home care, housekeeping. This would be maybe home delivered meals. We're doing that connection already through our home care team, but this would connect us directly with veterans who have been identified by the VA of having some of those needs as well. And we would do, if you scroll down just a tiny bit, Clay, you can see we would do things like assessment, helping those individuals put a plan together, and then making sure that they access those typically through, one of the many providers that we have in the region. We, might go through procurement and subcontract for that. If for some reason we don't already have that relationship. We already do a lot of that subcontracting and procurement through our home care team anyway. So this would just expand and support veterans, which we're very excited about, and hopefully help them be safe and thrive in their homes as they age. So we're just seeking board approval today to provide that new service. Again, with the existing staff that we have, we feel that we have enough space in our current team to be able to take on what we don't anticipate to be a lot of new clients. Now, we'd get reimbursed for this work. So if that number would grow and grow, it would be self-funding. So then we would take on an additional staff person with the funds that we receive through reimbursement. So shouldn't be any kind of budget issue.
All right. This does need action. I don't know if you have any questions and or motion.
Yes, sir.
For those not aware, I sit on the VFW National Legislative Team, and in this document, it mentions there's no duplication of VA services. This is an exact duplicate of the VA Homemaker and the Health Aid Act.
I think that what it is, I will find out about that, but my understanding was that it would basically be like they would be using us to accomplish their goals. But if that's not the case, we can definitely.
Just curious on that. And then secondly, does the veteran have to be enrolled in VA healthcare to qualify for this?
I will say that we have lots of services for older adults that they could qualify for services through the ad, and they definitely wouldn't have to be a veteran. So my understanding, and unfortunately Ann's not here today, she's the lead on this, but my understanding was this was specifically for individuals that are working through the VA to get additional help. So probably.
So the VA would then be the ones to
They're the
verify
referrer.
eligibility, that was an honorably discharged veteran, things
Yeah.
such as that.
Yeah, they're the ones that would be making that referral. So I think in that case, it would be yes. But again, if you had someone who just needed help, there's a real good chance they probably qualified just through home care, normally if they met the age and income requirements. But I can you maybe email me or find me after and tell me the names of the other things? Because we do want to make sure that we're not duplicating and that we're coordinating well.
Yeah, because I just realized there's a VA program that does all this exact stuff, Health Grocery Shop, and I'm sure you're aware of the Fort Thomas Coffee Club. There's that homemakers group that goes up there that performs that service.
Yeah, we would
I don't
definitely.
know if that's not federally funded, right?
Yes, that's through the VA.
It's VA, okay. But this is also through the VA as well, right?
That's my
They're
understanding.
both VHA programs, because I was curious if one
I'm
was
sure they won't be
VA
a
because they
conflict
don't.
if they're both. would be my-
But let's talk about it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Good question. Other discussion? If not, I'd entertain a motion to approve with the caveat that we confirm it.
We will definitely work with.
I'll make a motion.
All right.
A second.
Did you get the second? Yeah. All right. Further discussion? Hearing none, let's vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All vote. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you. Item number 11.
As well. So last fall, we had to start a waiting list for home delivered meals. And that is simply because there's a demand that exceeds existing funding. It's just a math problem. So when that occurred, we made a commitment as a team that we would provide this body with updates on a regular basis about how that's going and what we're seeing. I'm going to combine this, since it's been in your packet and you've had a chance, happy to answer any questions, but I'm also going to combine that with what I've been seeing at the state level with potential for additional funding or ongoing funding, so that everybody kind of knows where we are. So quick kind of recap, if you're looking at this document, what are you looking at? So this is through, data is through March 19th, dollars are through the end of February. So as far as people on HDM stands for home delivered meal. So people on the home delivered meal waiting list, the top bar chart, this is by county. So we now have added 2 people to the waiting list for Carroll County. For a while, we didn't have anybody. So that's new, Judge. We have the most in our most populated counties of Boone, Campbell, and Kenton. But we're starting to see it grow. The reason for that growth, as you can see, if kind of the middle one, we've spent as of, again, February 28th, 69% of the funds available. And we have in the orange, $421,299.84 remaining. I do have some good news about that. So in the shortfall, when the state decided that they were not going to be able to fulfill the shortfall initially on September 9th of 2025, and they sent us a letter to that point, we just kind of said, okay, no new people, right? If they're not on the list, we've got to kind of pause because there's, not going to be enough funding. And then ultimately, $9.1 million were found by the executive branch, and that was kind of codified by the legislative branch when they went into session. So we've got this 9.1 million. So they put that out amongst the different area development districts, and we were still going to have a gap. Many of the ads were still going to have a gap with the amount of funding that was identified. I know this is getting a little wonky, but basically what happened was we all submitted, all the 15 ads submitted to the cabinet for Health and Family Services. This is what we think it's going to cost for us to maintain our existing service through the rest of the fiscal year. Well, HIPTA in particular in Louisville, and then one of the other ads in Kentucky, I believe it was Cumberland Valley, they had such a shortfall. It was over $1 million shortfall, way bigger than ours. They immediately transferred some of their home care money into meals, and then they also had to take a lot of people off meals. Well, when the 9.1 million was identified, they of course wanted to add those people back. There were people that needed a meal. The state did not allow them to use the 9.1 million, that they're part of the 9.1, and put home care money back where it had been. They had to keep that move. So they ended up having money that they had asked for that they were not allowed to use. So there's more funds than what we thought we were going to get. So we are now no longer going to have the FY26 shortfall for the existing clients. Now, the challenge is that money ends June 30th. So from a sustainability standpoint, we can't necessarily just add a lot of people to, from the waiting list into, getting meals, because then we would just have to cut them off again June 30th. And that's not good for people, right? That's not good. That's confusing. It's scary. We don't want that for our seniors. So we are working with some of the counties that have extra funds. We are looking very closely at our waiting list for the whole 8 counties to say, if there are people that are very high on the nutrition risk assessment score, and we're talking like a handful probably, we may have enough money to move those individuals off the waiting list and into meals. But there's not going to be like some huge amount of money that we're going to be able to put too much of it in this 313 people that's on the waiting list. But we're hoping to serve the most in need. And we have been doing those nutrition scores for that reason, so that we're ready to be able to move. And so the team is working on that. So I wanted you all to know that. And then we're watching, if you look at the bottom, I'll just add the column on the left, which is blue, if you can see the blue, is active cases per county. And then the orange, or the right-hand side, which is smaller and a little hard to see, is the attrition. And we just point out the attrition because ideally, we are not kicking people off this program. If they are counting on that meal, we want them to keep getting it. And so attrition happens a lot in home delivery meals. Unfortunately, people pass away. People might go into assisted living or a nursing facility where they don't need it anymore. Maybe they move in with a child or something. And so attrition is how we're noticing, hey, we have fewer people. Is there an opportunity to lose one, add one? We haven't been doing too much of that because of the potential shortfall. So that's why we're watching really closely these numbers to make sure that we're serving as many people as we can. We don't want to leave money unused, but we also want to make sure it's sustainable. And so we're not putting somebody on and then we have to take them off or someone else off. So I just wanted everybody to be aware of how delicate that is and what's happening at the state level right now. And I have more about this in my executive director report. But they're talking about the budget. And so as a network, all 15 area development districts ask for $20 million a year for each of the 2 years to keep service at the same level that it is now. And if you look at what the state funded the past 2 years, that's pretty much on track. A little higher because we keep running out of money. Also, there's a lot of people getting older, so then they have a higher need. So we've got a demographic situation, and then we have just a funding situation. It is not clear that the General Assembly is going to fund that request of 20 million that would allow us to keep the service at the same level. From what we have seen, and it is a little tricky because like House Bill 900 doesn't have a lot of detail yet. Its conference is over. Conference committee, I should say, for those not familiar with that. Right now, it looks like we're funded statewide each year, the first year at 9.6 instead of 20, and the second year at 9.3. So if anybody wants to take action on that, I'm sure that your lawmaker would love to hear from you because it is something that our state director, Casey Ellis, has been working on very, very strongly. The NKADD network has educated extensively with our lawmakers about what the impact of that level of cut would mean statewide. But sometimes just hearing from a regular messenger is more effective. So I do share that with you because truly, I'm not sure that we would be able to handle by attrition if it was more than a 50% cut in what the overall need was. And I've seen the formula for how the cabinet is planning to fund each of the regions. And we will be talking to them about that because that is not very favorable for Northern Kentucky at the moment. And so we will be having a conversation with the DAIL, the Division of Aging and Independent Living, about how they're planning to divide up the different regions funding a formula because it's not great for Northern Kentucky at the moment. So sorry, not the best update, but I'm happy to answer any questions if you have questions about the numbers. And if you have questions about the General Assembly, I'm not sure that I can answer them, but I will try my best. Okay. No action required.
All right. Any questions? Very good. Next up are committee reports. Anything to report, Judge?
We did meet this week. Obviously, there continues to be more projects than funding when it comes to roads and asphalt, right? We did have a great presentation regarding asphalt preservation and how you can stretch a dollar and stretch some asphalt, and some possible collaboration ideas on how the counties through the NKADD can work together. So we'll continue to explore those to try to stretch the dollar. Former local elected official Jack Couch was here. He's our new transportation representative for the region. So it was great to see him here. And I think there's still some projects that are supposed to be funded that might not have funding now, that we've had some level of commitment before, but we continue to push to make sure those projects get done. So that's KYTC was here as well. There continues to be a priority put on I-71 and widening of that. I know Ivy sent some things out this past several weeks about getting support from everyone. So I think that's a project that certainly benefits the whole region. So continue to push it. Thank you.
Judge Morris, I'm glad you mentioned I-71 because even us in Boone, 71 improvements are very important for Boone County. While there's only a few miles of 71 in Boone, getting to Louisville more efficiently and effectively is extremely important for a lot of our businesses. And there's a lot more interaction between CBG Airport and Louisville, with UPS being down there and DHL and Prime being here. So 71 is a corridor of commerce, so to speak. So I know OKI is the MPO for Boone portion of 71, but it's a high priority for us too. And I did sign the letter of support for the turn lane request this week. That's, I believe, is it in Gallatin? Or is that in Carroll?
No, I think that's in.
Truck climbing lane.
Truck climbing.
Carroll,
Yeah,
truck.
that's in Carroll, that's right. So we're strongly in favor of it. All right, any other questions or discussion around transportation? Thank you. Back to Tara for her executive director report. She's gonna comment on item 14 while she's up there.
I apologize to not have a graphic necessarily. You can just leave that. You can just leave that there. It's fine. Okay, a few things, housekeeping and otherwise. If you have not turned in your ethics forms, we do have a couple of outstanding, so I'm sure it's nobody who's here, but if you haven't, Amy can help you out and get you a blank copy, or we can email it to you or whatever you need, but we really do need those back. So please, please, please submit those. Okay, and then the last couple months I've been reporting on commodities, and I just wanted to share something good that we have been fundraising for a shortfall that we experienced due to federal funding loss. And I just want to say with gratitude how much I appreciate our local fiscal courts stepping up to fill that gap. It's a huge, I think, assist to, we had the food, but we needed the help to get the food out by paying rent, utilities, et cetera, truly just due to the shortfall with changes in USDA funding. And so I just want to say thank you. And it looks like we're going to have 100% participation on that. We're not quite there, but it looks very promising. And so just want to say a moment of gratitude and thanks to get that going. We are working on what that'll look like in fiscal year 27. And so more to come on that. There's just a lot of moving parts right now. So it would take me probably more than the 35 minutes we have left to go over all that right now, because it's not quite fleshed out, but I'll be bringing that to you all probably next month. In addition, we've gotten a few new grants lately, so just thought I would take a moment and let you all know about those. We received, you may have heard about this last month, but we received $50,000 to support finishing the housing dashboard. And it looks like we are headed toward having maybe one more housing convening, kind of talking about some of the great things that happened over the last year after the Home for All was published. So in partnership with some groups like the Catalytic Fund, which just launched a privately funded housing fund for the region, and some other local communities that are doing some cool things in the space. So watch for some news on that. Speaking of, if you're not receiving our newsletter for any reason, that does go out monthly. So let me know and we'll make sure that, your email's correct and everything, because everybody should be getting the newsletter. Let's see, we also, Ivy just spoke about the 5304. We also did receive a small $25,000 grant to support mobility and transit from the National RTAP Community Rides Grant, and the team's been working really closely in this really interesting collaborative where all the recipients of the grants come together and share what their communities are needing. We're going to use the money to help Owen County Public Transit connect with ProudWorks, formerly known as BAYWAC. And so that if there's, buses or vans out in the community and, people's plans change or a bus would break down or any kind of thing would happen, that hopefully eventually all of our transit providers, both nonprofit as well as Tank and Office and Owen County Public Transit, have the ability to connect with each other via technology so that they can more quickly pivot if people need a ride at a time that they didn't expect. So anyway, that's very exciting. And then finally, we were selected and received a grant from United Way of Greater Cincinnati that will involve me being in a community dialogue for about 8 months to talk about food insecurity and the systems around food insecurity and how our nonprofit partners, and obviously public programs like the commodities programs all intertwine, and hopefully are there ways to improve how that food distribution network works. So that's very exciting, and we're super proud to have been included in that. Also, I should have had Katie Jo talk about this, but since I'm up here, I'll just do it. We've had 3 community forums now, which we talked about last meeting, in Carroll, Gallatin, and Grant counties. We're working to schedule Owen and Pendleton's, as well as working with partners in Boone, Campbell, and Kenton counties to schedule similar dialogues, maybe tapping into, a chamber event or a BNKY event or something in Boone, Kenton, Campbell. So we're not creating yet more events because people have plenty of things to go to and to do. But we'll be using all of those, sessions where people are talking about their highest priorities in order to then create something called the Comprehensive Economic Development Strategy. And we've recently updated the timeline. We call that document, that strategy, the CEDS for short, because everybody loves acronyms. Normally the CEDS would be due in December of 2027. That's the full rewrite of it. Well, Katie Jo and Ivy and really the whole team has been working. And so we are not going to do it and get it done in December. We're going to try to get it done in May of 2027 so that all of our communities have all the data and all the lists of project priorities available to then share it with Frankfurt in advance of the budget session in 2028, because they keep asking for that stuff earlier and earlier. So we want you all to be armed with all that information about what your community's plans are. So one of the things we're going to do is we're going to pull in the WIOA plan, the aging plan, the water plan, the transportation plan, all these things. We have AI now, and we're not going to use it to write it, but we can use that to analyze trends and to pull together all these plans. I mean, City of Covington sent us I think 5 plans maybe. And so why not use some technology and try to really analyze and synthesize all of these things and pull up what are those common elements across, and then put it into the strategy. And what happens with the CEDS once it's done is that when then your individual communities have a project and you need a letter of support, we tie it to the CEDS. And if it's a federally funded, you sometimes get bonus points that your project is tied to this comprehensive strategy. So we want to make sure that's as effective as possible. And so hopefully that new timeline will support your communities as well with the state level funding. So stay tuned. We're going to make a call out for some committees and feedback sessions to make sure we're getting that right. But really excited about where it's headed, and hopefully it'll be a more robust conversation as a result of the timeline. Okay, so, Clay, I think this is in there. Yeah. Okay, so in your packet there, my last, yeah, that's it. Can you maybe make it a little smaller? So you can see a little bit. Yeah, that's good. But then yeah, perfect. We don't need to see the capital. We know what that looks like. Okay, perfect. Cool. Okay, so this document is in your packet. And this is shareable. If you don't have Adobe, if you need it in an individual file, let me know. I'm happy to forward it out separately. But this document talks about something called the JFA, the Joint Funding Administration. It's a weird name, but what it is it combines our state funding that normally runs from the General Assembly through the Department of Local Government to all 15 ADDs. And it combines that with funding that all the ADDs get from the Economic Development Administration at the federal level. So that's why the joint funding, the name is what it is. And so when we get that grant, it comes in the form, it's like one grant with both the state and the federal money in it. It funds local government services, tax rate calculations, special studies that you need a little help with, grant writing. When our teams do the community forums, we're using that money to do that. It helps us write the CEDS. So it's very important to that really foundational work of our of our team going out in the community. I feel like it's been kind of the foundation of the last 3 years of all the things we've been really trying to do to bump up our community engagement and understanding what each of your individual communities need. So we have been working with Casey Ellis, who's the executive director of the Kentucky Council of Ads, and all the other ads to make sure that the lines in the budget are in there, right? Because it's not in statute, like it has to be added into the budget language every 2 years. As of when the House put out their budget, the funding from last time was in there. We wanted a bump, but everybody wants a bump. But the money was there and the words were not. So that was concerning. And so we talked to the Senate about it and they did not add it in. And so we got pretty worried and we called some folks that we knew. I called Lisa and some others and said, hey, what are we going to do about this? Called our lawmakers. And it looks like it's going to get added back in conference committee. So I've gotten word that we will feel pretty confident that it's going to get added back in conference committee. But I did just want to let you all know that it's like super important that it gets added back in conference committee. So like I said, I feel pretty good about it, but until it's actually there and I see it and it's passed as a bill and all those things, you just never know until it's done. So just that's kind of my way of saying that's our number one priority as an ad, because it's just such a critical underpinning and there's not necessarily other funding that does the same thing. We also are watching water and wastewater funding, which looks okay. We're watching to see if hopefully they add in the Putting Young Kentuckians to Work program that we call up here Youth First. It didn't get into either version, but we've heard it's going to be added in conference. So hopefully that's the case. And then I've already talked pretty extensively. We're watching home delivered meals because, that's not operational for the ad, but obviously so critical to the individuals that we serve. So I'm happy to answer any other questions, but that's the extent of my update. And then I have one other thing, Judge, after, but does anybody have any questions about the General Assembly? They will be done on
Careful.
April. General Assembly related to ad funding.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Any other questions about legislation? All right.
Okay.
Very good.
Great. And then we're going to have a guest speaker today. Her name is Amanda Peters. She is the executive director of the Northern Kentucky Office of Drug Control Policy. She works here and is a part of our senior leadership team. So there's a lot of cool information and examples about some of the programs they're doing in Kenton County, but she wanted to talk about what was possible across all 8 counties. Unfortunately, she had a home emergency, some flooding in her basement that had to be handled immediately. So she sends her regrets, and she did ask me to let you all know that we will try to reschedule her for another meeting that has space. But if you have any interest in this topic, if you kind of flip through these things and you want to know more about all the really great work that they're doing to try to really, do prevention and to work with law enforcement, but to help people get the help they need if they have substance use disorder. Amanda says, please reach out. I can get you connected to her if you don't have her number, but she is such a passionate advocate and really great at looking at systems, and she really does want to work with all of our communities. So if that's something that you're interested in, I'd be happy to connect you with her. And like I said, we'll try to get her back at another meeting where we have some space so you can hear about some of the cool stuff. They've been featured nationally at conferences. I mean, it's some really fascinating things. So that is all I have unless anyone has questions for me.
Questions for Tara or for me? Anyone? Lisa?
I've got one. I've heard rumor, I mean, I'm sure it's true, that Boone County and maybe one of the cities or the city of Florence, whoever it is, may be working on the homeless problem that we have, and wanted to see if you could share anything on that with all of us.
It's early stages. We have been discussing how we might work together to find some property and either an existing building or construct a building that would help us deal with some of the homeless challenges, and it would be in the city of Florence, most likely, most probably. But nothing we can report yet. You know, we would possibly have to purchase land, so we don't want to talk about that publicly where it would affect the price. But we'll have more to report pretty soon. Yeah. There is a need and something that I think we can address. Thank you. Other discussion?
Judge,
Yes.
Judge, may want to mention that we did have winter sheltering program.
Well, yes, that's true. Thank you, Mayor. And I forgot you were on with us if you want to add anything else, but we had record numbers as far as our winter sheltering program. And we contract with Welcome House to manage that. And that's usually done at hotel contracts where we rent hotel rooms for them. And that is a joint effort with the county and the cities with our MH ID and aging dollar. Record numbers overnight. There were times during the extreme cold, extended cold period, we had over 100. And previously it had been less than 50. So it really skyrocketed. Anything you want to add, Mayor?
I think you got it.
Thanks. All right. Any other discussion? Very good. Well, I think that completes our agenda for today. And unless you want to stay longer, I would entertain a motion to adjourn. Chris, is there a second?
Second.
All right. All in favor of adjournment? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Go Reds. Go.
Here we go. World Series.
Time for first at the moment. It'll be the last time.
Yankees here, one.